So we're going to start today's class in my favourite way. We're going to lay on our backs. So if you want to let the knees just fall in and rest on each other, then that's fine. But if you prefer to lay another way, please just do what feels good for you this morning, okay? So just find that comfy spot. And we're going to take 3 nice big cleansing breaths together. So let's inhale and out through the mouth. And again, deep in. Exhale. Last time in. Exhale. Settle into our breath now. So just find a sort of length and pace through the breath today. Don't worry too much about deepening it into your ujjayi. The flow itself is quite a warming flow, so you don't necessarily need to build more heat through the breath as well. So find that count that suits you with your breath. Equal on the inhale, equal exhale. Let's gently just pull our attention inwards. Check in with how we're feeling. Gently begin to part the knees or bend your knees if they're not already there and bring them about mat distance apart. We're going to do a few windscreen wipers here. So let the knees fall over to the right. Try not to roll over with them, just let them just gently guide over, let gravity do its work, and then lift up and then move over to the other side. Don't expect them to fall onto the ground. Just try and find that stretch through the side on the hips. So keep moving through, using your breath, lifting the knees and then lowering, swapping sides. Couple more whirls. And then gently guiding ourselves back to centre. Let's draw the knees into the chest now. And we're going to keep hold of the right shin as we extend out through the left leg. So trying to bring the knee up as high as you can, the right knee, and then pressing out through the left foot. And then we're going to make circles with our right foot. So let's warm up the ankles a little bit. So maybe 1 or 2 rotations one way and then swapping over sides. And then gently gathering the other knee in. We're going to swap over. So extend through the right leg. Left one is lifted up towards the chest. So again, we're going to rotate the foot round. And then gathering the knees up again. And then bringing the feet back down onto the ground is setting ourselves up for our pigeon pose. So hooking the right ankle over the left knee. So flex through the foot, the knee guides away. So we'll go through our options again with you. So you can either stay here, you can maybe put a little bit of pressure with your hand on the thigh, just to find that stretch. Or we can gather on the underside of the thigh, or maybe even the shin, drawing those in towards you to find that stretch. So the main stretch will be felt around the side of the thigh, around the hip, around the bum. Also take some time just to feel your spine uncurling onto the mat. Try and keep the lower part of the spine down there if you're able to. And lowering that foot down, we're going to unhook and let's hook over with the other side. So take a moment just to see how we feel here. Flex through the foot, knee guiding away. So remember, this can feel like it's enough. You may stay here for a breath or two, or take it a little bit deeper if there's space this morning. Another breath. And gently releasing. Let's unhook the feet, gather the knees in again. And we're going to roll ourselves up to seated. So cross leg if you can. We're going to move through some seated cat-cows. Take your hands on the knees. We're going to do 5 rounds of this. So let's inhale, lift the chest, shoulders back, take the tailbone out. And then exhale, curl around. Sucking the belly button in, stretching through the top of the shoulders. Inhale again. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. 3 more rounds. In, lift. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last round in. And exhale. Moving through that neutral spine, hands to prayer. We're going to come into a twist. So inhale, lift up with the hands. And then turn towards the right, left hand on the right knee, right hand behind. So just notice here what we're doing with the spine. We want to lift up, shoulder back. Use your fingertips or your hand here, whatever works for you. You can always take the hand further around if that's what you need to feel that twist through the side of the body. Guiding through centre, inhale in, and over to the other side. Through centre, hands to prayer lift. And then just bring our hands out in front of us, gentle twist. We're going to warm through these now. So a few rotations of the wrist one way. And then reverse the direction. So keep changing the direction. Making sure we're focusing on that wrist movement, not the whole arm. And let's take our hands out in front of us now. So pressing through the heels of the hand, but I'm also pressing through my arms and my shoulders too. Curling the fingertips back. And then switching them, so fingertips facing down. Let's do some big spider shapes or star shapes with our fingers. Spreading your fingers as wide as you can. And now let's move into our first downward facing dog. So move into this however works for you, either rolling over your legs or coming onto your knees as you step yourself back. So this first one, let's wake up our ankles a little bit more, our calves, our toes, take a little pedal out. Another couple of breaths here, just doing what your body needs. And let's gently settle ourselves to a bit more of a downward dog position. Soften those knees if we need to this morning. So we're going to turn the right knee towards the centre of the mat and take a stretch out through the left. So we're pulling the left hip back, stretching through the sides, through centre and the other side. So turning the left knee towards the centre, pulling the right hip back. And gently back, guiding through centre. Again, finding that downward dog position that's working for us this morning. We want weight evenly distributed or more so in the feet than we have got in the wrists. Let's walk our feet forward for a little ragdoll. So you want parted feet, holding onto the elbows, weight slightly into the balls of the feet. If you feel you still need to bend the knees a little bit here this morning, then do. Let's have a little sway. So just note what your head's doing as well. Are you finding that you're looking up? Just try and completely let the neck relax here. And let's inhale, rise up, bringing the feet together up through the fingertips. Hands down by our side. So bringing ourselves at mountain pose at the top of the mat. Let's take a breath together. Inhale and exhale. So we're going to go through round one of our ladder flow. So we're going to inhale, go onto the balls of the feet, lifting up through the fingertips. And with the exhale, the heels come down. We're going to lower our hips and come into a ski position. So lifting up through the little fingers here. 2 more rounds of this. Inhale, lift up onto the balls of the feet. If the balance is tough, just stay on the heels. And then coming back down into ski with the exhale. Inhale, lift. Exhale. Inhale, this time lift. Hands into prayer, bringing them down to the heart. Let's find your balance. Again, if we need to stay on our heels here, that's okay. So we're going to lower ourselves down as much as we comfortably can. If you need to part the feet a little bit here so it feels better for you, then do. Listen to your knees as you come down. Another breath. So we want to move on to the floor now and get ourselves into boat pose. So you're able to just come onto the floor without your hands, or you may need to just help yourself down a little bit. Do what's safe for you. Coming onto the tailbone, lifting up, perhaps starting holding onto the back of the knees. And you can release the hands from there if you want, once you've found that foundation. So just notice what you're doing with the spine. We want to lift shoulders back. So we're all going to do a bit of low boat now. So releasing the hands, extending the legs, just coming as low as you can control. You want to try and hover. Back into high boat. We're going to move through our vinyasa now, or staying downward dog if you prefer. So finding ourselves, crossing our feet over or coming onto the knees, stepping back into plank. You can always come to the knees again if you need. Inhale. Exhale, down we go, chaturanga. Inhale, lift up, facing dog, and keep the elbows bent slightly if that feels better. And then downward facing dog, adjusting the feet from here. Reconnecting with our breath. Let's go through a little warrior sequence now. So we're going to come into warrior one to begin. Let's turn the left foot out slightly, bring the right one forward, many steps as it takes. Rising up through the hands, settling into the hips. So really press down through that back leg, bringing your hips, rotating around to the front of the mat as much as you can. Moving into warrior two. Inhale, straighten the front leg and the hips come out, arms down. Settle down with that front leg again. Notice our shoulders, make sure they're away from the ears. So now reverse warrior, take the back arm down the back leg, keep the front leg bent. Lifting ourselves up into triangle stance, so palms facing down, everything straightens. So we inhale here, then exhale, our left hip comes out, right hand comes far forward as you can, hand comes down, left one moves up. Separating the shoulders, hips move gently forward, ribs are moving in. Taking the gaze down, softening the front leg to come into downward facing dog to get ready for the other side. So same little flow, we're going to turn the right foot out this time, no left one forward. Up we come with warrior one. Warrior two, straighten, move the hips, down we go. Reverse warrior. Inhale, lift up triangle stance, palms facing down. Exhale, move in to the triangle pose. Gaze down, soften the front leg, step back into downward facing dog and just gently drop to the knees. Let's settle into child's pose just for a moment or two. Lifting up, downward dog. Let's step forward to the front of the mat. Bring ourselves into that halfway lift with fingertips or hands onto the shin. Then take hold of the back of the legs, drawing yourself into a fold. It doesn't matter where you're holding onto your legs. You can even bend the legs here a little bit if it feels better. And then inhale, up we come, up through the arms. Hands down by our side. So we're going to go back through that round one and we're going to tab on round two at the end. Let's take a breath here at the top together. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, coming onto the balls of the feet up through the fingertips. Exhale into our ski. Inhale, lift. Exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale, lift and find the balance, hands to prayer, settle them at the heart. Lowering ourselves down, so bending the knees, stop wherever you need to here. Remember, parting the feet, you might find this a little bit easier too. And let's find our boat pose from here, using the hands or not. Everyone releasing the hands, coming into low boat. High boat. So now we're going to Vinyasa option, or you can move straight into child's or downward facing dog. From here you can step or jump back into plank, depending on how energetic you feel this morning. Inhale at the top. Exhale. Inhale, lift. Downward dog. Another breath. So the left foot out, right one forward, warrior one. So just a reminder, note what your arms are doing, so not squashed around your ears. Find that little bit of space here. Warrior two, inhale, switch round. Reverse. Inhale, triangle stance. Exhale, triangle pose, so the hip moves out, hands forward. Gaze down, soften the legs as we come into downward facing dog. Other side, right foot turns out, left one forward. Warrior two. Reverse. Inhale, triangle stance. Exhale, move forward into our triangle. Gaze down, soften and move into that downward facing dog. So we're going to begin with our round two now. So we're going to do some little gentle Vinyasa rolls to begin. So let's roll our way forward into plank. You may need to adjust the feet. It's okay if your shoulders come over the wrist here, as long as you don't feel like it's uncomfortable. Lower the knees down, slide back into our child's, and up we go, downward facing dog. So let's do that 2 more times. Roll forward, plank, knees, child's, down dog. Last time. Plank, knees, child's, down dog. So we're going to do a little bit of a hip stretch now. So we're going to stay on the balls of the feet as we move forward. It's like a modified up dog. And we're going to move our chest up. So it's like upward dog position, but I'm on the balls of my feet. So it may be that this feels a little bit too strained. If that's the case, then drop your thighs to the ground. But what we're trying to do is push our hips forward to feel the stretch there. If it feels okay, then give yourself a little rock side to side. Like I said, always the option to drop the thighs. And now we're going to slide our way back into child's. Release the hands off of the ground and just work through the fingers a little bit to relieve the wrists. And let's come into downward facing dog. So we're going to work through the next 2 poses using our breath. So we'll have a few goes of this. So we're going to begin by moving into a crescent lunge with cactus arms. So with the inhale, we're going to step forward with the right foot, lift up the arms, and then settle into cactus. So this is inhale. Exhale, arms come up, and we're over the thigh. Then we're going to inhale, lift, turn towards the left of the mat, hands onto the hips. And then exhale, hinge down and release our hands to the ground. So inhale, we're going to come into a halfway lift here with wide legs. So this is where we're going to have the option of either staying here because this feels enough, or you can move deeper into the forward fold. So you want to take that lift up through the back of the leg, extend through the arms, stay here, or bend the elbows and start to work your hands under from here. So do what works for you this morning. Walking the hands back out, coming into that halfway lift. And we're going to turn towards the front of the mat into a low lunge. So my right foot is at the front, my left knee drops down. I'm going to lift my arms up, let my weight fall forward. And now we're going to move into half splits position. So there's various ways in which we can get there. You may feel okay to use the hands onto the ground and glide back. Alternatively, you may want to lift first, come back, and then you can press forward with the fingertips from there. So it doesn't matter where you're holding onto the floor if you have got there, okay? So it could be back here, as long as you're feeling that stretch at the front, at the back of the legs. So we're going to move forward just enough to get ourselves back into downward facing dog. So we're going to do the same little routine on the other side. So we get with the inhale, we come into crescent with cactus. So we step forward with the left, arms lift, cactus, that's our in. Exhale, arms up, over thigh. Inhale, lift, turn towards the right, hands to the hip. Exhale, halfway down, hands on the ground. Inhale, lift, find that halfway lift. Either chill out here, enjoy the stretch, or go a little bit deeper if that's what we need this morning. So it's the same fold, we're hinging at the elbows. Weight slightly into the balls of the feet, continue to lift through the back of the legs. Bringing our hands forward, lift up halfway. And let's turn towards the lunge at the front of the mat. So left one forward, right one back. Coming into a half splits, however works for you. So using those options I described. Just bring yourself forward just enough to find downward dog again. We're going to bring ourselves to the front of the mat now, coming into a little ragdoll, so feet slightly parted, hands onto the elbows, little sway. Slowing down the breath again if we need. And then inhale, lift all the way up through the fingertips. Hands down by our side. So we've done 2 rounds now. We're back at the top. We're going to do 1, 2, and then add number 3 on the end. Let's take a breath together. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, up through the arms, on the toes. Exhale into ski, the heels come down. Inhale, lift. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, lift, find the balance, hands to prayer, bringing them to heart. And then lower as much as we're able to. Let's carefully find our way onto the ground and move our way into boat. Low boat. High boat. Vinyasa, or you can choose downward dog or child, remember. Stepping or jumping back. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, lift. Downward dog. Another breath. Little warrior sequence. Send the left foot out, right one forward, warrior 1. Warrior 2. Reverse. Inhale, triangle stance. Exhale, triangle pose. Gaze down, downward dog. Other side, right foot out, left one forward. Warrior 2. Reverse. Triangle stance. Triangle pose. Gaze down. Let's find our way into down dog. That next part of the sequence. So with our inhale, step forward with the right foot. Arms lift, cactus arms. Exhale, arms lift, over the thigh. Inhale, lift, turn towards the left, hands to hip. Exhale, hinge, release the hands. Inhale, halfway lift, find that extension. Decide staying here or moving into the pose. Guiding your hands forward, halfway lift. Turn towards the front of the mat, low lunge. So your right foot is at the front. Half splits. And let's just move out of this pose and then into your downward facing dog. Other side. Stepping the left foot forward. Inhale, cactus arms. Exhale, arms up over thigh. Inhale, turn to right, hands to hip. Exhale, hinge, release the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, either stay or bringing yourself under. Releasing ourselves out of the pose, halfway lift, and then to the front of the mat, left one forward, right knee on the ground, low lunge. Half splits. Sliding forward, downward dog, and let's move straight into child's pose from here. So if you just want to lift yourself up just onto your knees for a moment, I am going to go through the next sequence before we do it. So this is a bit of a trickier sequence, but please, pace yourself and take your time with it. So I'll go through the poses and then we'll have a go together. So we are going to start in pigeon, good old fave, and we'll settle into that pose. So from here, we're going to come out and try and move into side plank. There are lots of variations that you can choose from. So we're going to hook the back toes. I'm going to take my weight in the opposite hand. I'm still going to use the other one to guide me up. So we can try and lift our knee up, or bring it here, or come into your standard side plank. So from here, we're going to move into a wild thing. So this top leg is going to come behind me. My hips are going to come up. I'm going to move into a wild thing. Then I'm going to lower my hips, bring myself to the front of the mat again, or towards this direction, and come into pyramid. So you can take as many steps as it takes to get your leg around here. Moving into the pyramid pose with either hands on the floor or hands behind us, so we can lift higher, just like we do with that half splits pose. We're going to spend a few moments here, and then we're going to move into warrior three. So my weight is going to move forward. I'm softening that standing knee to help me come up, to find my balance. If your warrior three needs to look more like this, that's okay. And then we'll settle back into downward dog, ready for us to give the other side a whirl. So don't worry, I will go through it again. We're going to move ourselves into downward dog. We're going to start in pigeon pose, so bring the right knee to the right wrist. I'm just going to swap over sides so you can see what I'm doing in a second. So either staying here on the fingertips or guiding ourselves down to bring a little bit of weight into the pose here. Lifting ourselves up, so come onto the fingertips and hook the back toes, because you're going to need that bit of leverage. So my weight's going into my left hand. I'm still using my right hand to help me up, okay, to find my balance. So you can be here or come into your normal side plank. From here, I'm going to take my hips up. My right leg is going to bend. I'm going to come into a bit of a wild thing. Now I'm going to lower my hips down. My right foot is going to step forward, so it can be like this. You can even use your hand if you need to guide it. And then bring yourself into pyramid pose. So you're adjusting these feet. Remember, you want your feet on train tracks as opposed to in a straight line for pyramid. Extend through the spine or bring the hands back to help moving into the pyramid pose. And then soften that front leg to help us move in to our warrior three. Then soften again, downward facing dog. And let's get ready to do it on the other side. Left knee, left wrist. Take that back leg back. Let's enjoy our pigeon pose. Either here or coming a little bit deeper in. Lifting ourselves up, hooking back toes. I'm going into the right side now, so weight over to the right. Wild thing, drop that left leg, pivoting my hips up. And now lower my hips, and use my hands to guide me round to my pyramid pose. Deepen the pyramid pose. Warrior three, soften the front leg, rising up. Use the floor if you need to. Everything softens, downward facing dog. And then lower to the knees to settle into child's for a breath or two. Lifting up, down dog. Stepping forward, or walking forward to the front of the mat. Halfway lift, hands to the shin or fingertips to floor. Taking the hands at the back of the legs, moving into a forward fold. Inhale, lift, arms come up, hands down by our side. So we're going to do it for the last round now from the top, all 3 rounds, and then we'll settle into our finishing poses. So let's take a breath here. Exhale. Inhale, balls of the feet up through the fingertips. Exhale, coming into skip. Inhale, lift. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, lift, find the balance, hands to prayer. And lower with control and consideration. Carefully find your way onto the floor, moving in to our boat pose. Low boat, high boat, Vinyasa or down dog or even child's, stepping or jumping back. Full chaturanga or on your knees, we inhale, exhale. Inhale, lift, exhale, downward facing dog. Find a breath here. Warrior one, left foot out, right one forward, up we come. Warrior two, switch the hips round. Reverse. Triangle stance. Triangle pose with the exhale. Soften the knees, downward dog. Other side, right foot turns out, left one forward, warrior one. Warrior two. Reverse. Triangle stance. Triangle pose. Gaze down. Downward dog. Stepping forward with the right leg, crescent lunge. Inhale, cactus arms. Exhale, arms up, over thigh. Inhale, lift, turn to the left of the mat. Ready for your wide leg fold. Exhale, down we go. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, staying here or taking yourself under the legs. Inhale, lift, taking the hands out, and then to the front of the mat, low lunge. Half splits. And just guide forward to find a downward facing dog. Another breath here. Other side. Left foot forward, lifting up, inhale, cactus arms. Exhale, arms lift, over thigh. Inhale, lift, turn towards the right of the mat. Exhale, hinge, release the hands. Inhale, take that lovely extension. Staying, or then moving underneath the legs. Inhale, lift, halfway, taking the hands forward again. And then coming into low lunge, left foot forward, right one back. Half splits. Guide forward. Downward dog, just briefly to settle ourselves into child's. So lifting up, downward dog, starting with our pigeon pose, right knee to right wrist, sliding the back one back, adjusting the shin as you need to here. Take a moment, inhale, exhale, staying, or deepening into the pose. Lifting ourselves up onto our hands, hooking the back toes to help you with your support. So the weight in the left, coming in to the side plank of your choice. And then we lower the right foot, come into wild thing. Lower my hips, that right foot is coming forward, moving into my pyramid pose. I'm either here or here. Warrior three, soften, use the hands to guide you up if you need. Soften the standing knee, downward facing dog. Left knee, left wrist. Into pigeon. Settling down into the pose should you want. Rising up on the fingertips, hooking the back toes, get ready for side plank. Weighting to the right, use your other hand to guide you. Wild thing, so pivot around. Lower hips, use your hands if you need. Taking the left foot forward. Into pyramid, find that hamstring stretch. Deepen the pose if we need. Gently lifting up, send the weight forward, find that flight in our warrior three. Soften, down dog, and then straight into child's. Lifting ourselves up from here. So you want to come on your bum, come on however works for you, folding under your feet or coming onto your knees. We're going to extend out through the legs. So we're going to come into a forward fold, so hands to prayer lift. Find that extension and then over we go from here. So either big toe holding, the edge of the feet, strap or floor. What we're trying to find, remember, is that length over the legs, so really feel that body extending as we move over ribs, over thighs. Keep a little eye on where we're going, which is down towards the toes. Feel that pulling with the heart, so try and move forward with the chest. Gently lifting ourselves up from here. We're going to do a couple of little twists from here. So bringing the right foot in, we're going to bring the heel close to the bum and next to the thigh. Taking that knee over towards the left, we're either wrapping around with the arm or we're hooking the elbow over, drawing the body through. And then behind, we're finding that twist. So try not to let that shoulder get all stuck around the ear. Use your hand or the fingertips. It all just depends on our sort of body ratios. And gently release. Extending out through the legs like swap over sides, so taking the left one in. So as close up as you can. Guiding the knee over to the right, hugging, twisting or hooking over. And just really bringing the body through from here. So guiding the knee over to the right as I'm twisting open with my chest here. That right foot, make sure it's part of the party. So the toes are pointed at, the knees are up, it's activated. then gently unwinding ourselves, extending the legs out. Wide leg forward for old time. Knees up, feet up. Hands just inside of the thighs. So remember, if you want to sit on something here, that can sometimes help with the movement. Take a moment to feel that long extension. Activating the legs. Start creeping the fingers forward. When you start to feel like that stretch is adequate, then just stop for a moment, use the breath. If from there you feel you can take it a little bit deeper, then do. If you're finding you can get quite deep into these poses now, perhaps try and hold on to the edge of the feet to draw yourself down. That's going to act as a bit of an anchor to get yourself down here. Remember, you want your belly and chest to be coming down, not everything curling and your forehead down. Lifting ourselves up. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together now. So you want your heels to be as close to the hips as you can reasonably get them. This is when we're working on the hip opening. So you're either going to be able to open your feet like a little book and your knees are going to come down with it. Alternatively, we're going to hold on to the ankles instead, or even further up the shin if you need to. My elbows are just inside of my thighs and I'm going to use those elbows to guide my knees down a little bit. We're going to do 2 rounds of these. The first one is I'm extending my body. I want my chin over there. So that's the direction I'm moving in. So let's inhale, find yourself a bit more space. Then exhale, pulling forward again, always moving forward with the chest. I'm guiding my knees down and I'm moving my chest forward. Like I said, if you have the range available to you, you may be able to turn the feet up and guide forward from here. But I'll leave you to make that right decision for yourself. Another breath. And gently coming back up from here. So we're going to do the same foundation with the pose, but this time we are going to curl the spine and take our head down towards the feet. So the same thing applies with the feet and how you're holding your elbows. So inhale and exhale, we curl. I'll come onto the other side so you can see. Curling round now, bringing my head towards my feet. Gently going to lift myself up. I'm going to extend out through my legs. And I'm going to come onto my forearms into a bit of a variation of fish pose. So I'm going to press into the ground with my forearms. My chest is up, my shoulders are back. I may want to take my neck back. I may want to keep my chin to my chest. Feel free to point through the toes. That can feel nice in this pose. The main thing we're trying to achieve here is a nice stretch through the chest and our shoulders. And gently coming out of the pose, you're going to come onto the floor now and gather the knees into the chest. Give yourself a little roll on the spine. Taking the head up towards the knees. And releasing down. We're going to come into a supine twist before our Shavasana. So just keep hold of the right shin so you extend out through the left leg. This knee now I'm going to guide over to the left. So the right arm is extended out. And through centre, gathering the knees in again, swapping over sides. So right leg extends. Taking the left one over this time. Left arm extends. If there's not room, you can always cactus arm it instead. So bringing ourselves up back to centre, gathering the knees in. And let's find our way now to our comfiest Shavasana position that we can imagine. Let's just take a couple of seconds just to make those little micro movements, really get yourself settled into the mat. And let's come back to our 3 nice cleansing breaths. So deep inhale, out through the mouth, and again in. Exhale, inhale, exhale. Let your breath just find its way back to its natural rhythm now. Continue to soften the body so it melts into your mat. And just let your attention wrap around this moment. Either letting your attention ride on a smell or a sound. Perhaps any feeling you may have through the body. Enjoy a few more moments here. Let's find some gentle movement now through our fingers and toes. Take the arms overhead. Nice long stretch. Knees into the chest. And let's gently find our way to a seated position that's comfortable for you. Resting the hands on the knees or just in the lap. Find that lift and extension through the spine, soften the shoulders. So gentle inhale, inflating our lungs. Exhale softly through the mouth. And again, inhale. Exhale. Hands at prayer at the heart. Moving into our day with a positive thought and a full and grateful heart. Gentle inhale. Softly out. And Namaste.